You're listening to another episode of the Just Go Bike podcast powered by RAGBRAI. This is the award-winning podcast where we are all about the culture of cycling just for the fun of it. Your hosts are Murph from the Murphology podcast and AP from Parrot Talk. With tales from all over the nation, come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile. And now here is Murph.
Hey, that's me.
And AP.
Hey, that's me.
Hi, Murph.
Well, hey, AP, how are you?
I'm incredible. I'm still reliving the pre-ride. I cannot believe that it was just a couple days ago, but at the same time, I've been having like 3 breakfasts, 3 lunch, and the biggest dinner of all time. So, yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I feel like we got to see small town Iowa at its best. And just think, each of these towns, they still have over a month to fine tune their plans and, you know, get all of the little mini details played out. So it's going to be a good year.
Yeah, they rolled out the red carpet for us. And I think by and large, the towns, if needed, they could host RAGBRAI tomorrow because they're so ready. So this is a great year. Matt and the team have done a really good job of getting them prepared for RAGBRAI.
Yeah.
So on the next episode, we'll do more of a deep dive into some of the cool things you can look forward to on RAGBRAI. But we need a minute to kind of collect our thoughts.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, AP, today's episode covers a topic that we see often, whether it's on social media or emails that come into RAGBRAI. And that topic is logistics.
That's right.
And as we all know, well, hopefully even the newbies know this, but RAGBRAI is a one-way bike tour. So riders, you know, they start at the west side of the state, they end in the east side, and then they've got to figure out how to get back to their cars at the end of the week. Or if they did a flippity-do where their cars are at the end of the week, how did they get to the start? All of that stuff. Basically just, you know, how to get to RAGBRAI and then how to get home afterwards.
Yeah. People oftentimes will register. They're so excited for RAGBRAI and they're like, wait, how am I going to make this work? So this kind of answers their questions. But riders will use all kinds of ways to get back home after they dip their tire in the Mississippi.
Yeah, back when I was on a team, we had, you know, like many RAGBRAI teams, we had an old school bus that was converted into a RAGBRAI team bus. And we would gather, typically it would be Saturday morning, so the day of the expo, real early in the morning in my hometown. So all I had to do was get to the bus, and that bus would then take us to the start town. And the bus would carry our gear. So each overnight town, we would go find the bus, set up our camps, and they took us home after we dipped our tires in the Mississippi.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty common way to do RAGBRAI is to have a team bus. But for those who aren't on a team, there are also charters that offer transport for bikes and people. But that's not the only way.
Yeah, today's episode is another great option.
Yeah. Last year was the first year that we partnered with this company. They're called Mr. Car Shipper, and they're a car transport service, and it's honestly genius. It's the way that I would want to do RAGBRAI. They're an A+ company. They've been in business for over 20 years, and you'll hear more in a minute, so I don't want to tell their whole story, but it's a really great logistical option that you could take. All you have to do is get yourself to Ottawa. You leave your car there, and magically, bada boom, bada bing, your car will be waiting for you in Dubuque, safe and sound.
Bada boom, bada bing. I would say, yeah, it's definitely a pretty cool option. And Stacy and Daniel from Mr. Car Shipper are on this episode, and they discuss, you know, the history of the company, how exactly it works, the cost associated with it, and what their connection is with RAGBRAI.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear this one. As a RAGBRAI employee, I don't see a lot of the front side of things. I just see the cars appear in Dubuque. So I want to kind of hear the magic behind the curtain. So let's get to it.
All right.
We will be right back.
Dear Friday, Toyota says let's put good times in gear with the Tundra, Tacoma, and 4Runner. Want some cool available features? We've got power tailgates to power game days and a trailer backup guide that's the champ of the ramp. Heck, we might even cancel Monday. Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
Now, back to the show.
Well, joining me today on the Just Go Bike podcast is Stacy and Daniel from Mr. Car Shipper. Hello.
Hey.
Hi there.
And you guys are going to tell us all about A, what Mr. Car Shipper is, and B, how it relates to RAGBRAI. But first off, will you tell us, each of you, where you're located and, whether you cycle, what's your take on cycling, and we'll go from there?
Sure. Yeah, we're Mr. Car Shipper. We are a small family-owned company. We're based out of the Omaha, Nebraska area. So right there on the edge of the state, across the street from Iowa. And we have been in the business of brokering auto transport for a little over 20 years.
Oh, wow.
We do primarily work in the consumer auto transport industry. So our day jobs are, people that are moving, being relocated to, across the country. They coordinate with us to get their vehicles shipped. So that's the gist of what we do. And as far as our take on cycling,
well, my take on cycling. So we got involved with RAGBRAI last year. Last year was our first year providing this service, and it kind of opened my eyes to the whole world of cycling. Before that, of course, that the Tour de France exists. That kind of thing. And I loved riding a bike as a kid. Rode my bike all over town, and I remember it's still one of my favorite memories. We were kind of poor growing up, and one of the very few brand new purchases that I ever made as a kid was I went with my dad to a real bike shop, and we picked out, it was a forest green Trek bicycle.
Trek?
I was so proud of that thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a Trek. And I rode that thing all over town, and it was always my favorite thing to ride it to the pool. And so that was my thing. And then, going away to college, I guess I was like, well, I guess riding a bike is done. But now I know there's a whole world out there.
That's true. And just think, when you got that first bicycle, how much it expanded where you could go as a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, because walking is just boring. It's the worst. But you could jump on your bike and get anywhere. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I lived in a small town, so the bike is perfect.
Sure. And now you get to be part of, 20,000 people choosing to use their vacation and their time off to pedal across the state of Iowa.
Yeah, that has been actually, both Stacy and I have loved kind of getting to be a part of RAGBRAI culture and community just a little bit. It's been so fun to meet people and to hear their stories and to chat with them while they're doing this crazy thing. It's been great. We loved it.
Yeah. Okay, so Stacy, you mentioned that you've been in business for about 20 years and that you're a family-owned business, but I don't know if everyone who listens to this podcast knows exactly what Mr. Car Shipper is. So maybe tell us a little bit about the history, and we'll get into what exactly you do.
Sure, yeah. So when we say we broker auto transport, most people don't ship cars very often, unless you work in classic car trades or something. But when people are relocating around the country, oftentimes if they've got a really long distance move or multiple vehicles, they'll opt to get some of their vehicles shipped. So you would call Mr. Car Shipper, and we take in your information about when you need to move from where to where. And then we have a network of transport carriers around the country that we work with to get your vehicle loaded onto a truck and transported for you. And so for RAGBRAI, our service is that people can leave their vehicle with us in Ottawa, the start town, and then while they're out doing the ride for the week, we are working with a network of carriers to get those vehicles transported across Iowa to Dubuque. So then at the end of the week, when they're done with the ride, their vehicle's there, it's where you can hop in and head off to wherever you're going next.
It's such a brilliant idea because it's definitely a logistical thing to think about when you sign up for RAGBRAI, is that it's a one-way trip. So you go to Ottawa, we all bike our way to Dubuque, and then we either have to coordinate somebody to come get us, to take a bus back. So it's just a cool additional, it's another option.
Yeah, another logistical service that, people have lots of different needs, and they're coming from lots of different parts of the country and even the world. And we have found that it's been pretty neat to just offer another solution. that might work really well for some people and others maybe not, but just, another option.
Mm-hmm. Will you touch a little bit on the actual, putting the vehicle on the truck, the safety, the care, how that works so that gives people a little bit of peace of mind?
Sure, yeah. So we only work with fully licensed and insured carriers. We vet our carriers very closely. Like I said, we've been doing this for over 20 years. Daniel and I are each going to be present for the entire week of RAGBRAI. I will be in one town and he will be in the other, and we will be there on site monitoring the vehicles all week, monitoring the loading and unloading of them and the processing of them with the carriers. We do work really closely with that process.
And so when the carrier arrives in the lot, we have the cars all staged and ready for them, and they'll hop in the cars. And then, of course, they've done this thousands of times. Right. So to you and I, it looks a little scary to drive a car onto like a top of a semi-vehicle trailer, but they do it all day, every day, and so they do it very well. And then they secure the vehicle to that trailer, and they head down the road. And with anything, like Stacy said, we do vet the carriers. We want to be able to trust them. Something that sometimes people's expectation is a little different. They think it's like a white glove service, and it's really not. These guys that do this are good at what they do, but they're very blue collar. And so sometimes the car gets a little dirty and all that sort of thing, but it gets to your destination safely, and that's what we're most focused on.
I'm thinking about the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, when they steal the dad's car and they go on his joyride. I'm picturing I'm picturing people thinking that, what is my car doing all week while I am riding my bike across Iowa? But it sounds like it's safe and secure.
Yeah. It's sitting in the lot that it's dropped off at until it's turn to get a trip across Iowa, and then it will be sitting in the lot assigned to us in Dubuque until the riders who register with us come and pick it up.
I think it's such a unique business to be in. If you think back to 20 years ago, do you remember how the vision became reality?
For Mr. Car Shipper, you mean?
Yes.
Sure, yeah. So the owner of our company, Jerry Teeter, he was always just really fascinated with cars and the car industry. And actually, he started out as a carrier, a transport carrier, and used to actually run quite a few loads between the Omaha and Des Moines, Iowa area. And then decided to move into the brokering side of business, and originally was partnering with different dealerships and moving new vehicles to dealer lots and things like that. And it's just sort of grown from there. We work with a number of major moving companies around the country, and again, just primarily focus on those consumer moves. We don't really do a lot of the new vehicle dealership kind of things anymore, and that's kind of brought us to where we are today. And as far as RAGBRAI specifically, we actually have an employee in our office who has participated in RAGBRAI, I think about 5 or 6 years, and brought this up to us about 2 years ago and said, hey, I wonder if this might be a service that we could consider, working with RAGBRAI to do. So we kind of spent a few months that first year just sort of feeling it out. And I believe that was 2 years ago, because it was when the start town was in Glenwood. And then we just worked to kind of develop it further, get a plan together. And so last year was our first year officially offering the service. And it was a pretty neat experience.
Could I add something a little bit about the history and stuff like that?
You bet.
So one of the reasons, as Jerry was kind of moving cars back and forth and then looking into the brokerage side, one of the things that moved him into that is 20 years ago especially, there was a big gap of customer service. It was really hard for individuals to be able to move their vehicles easily across the country. Because like I mentioned before, these guys that do this, they're very talented in moving cars, but they're often a little lacking in the customer service skills. So communication, knowing where my car is, explaining the process, all that kind of stuff was lacking. And Jerry saw an opportunity to step in and be a broker that's reputable, that will educate the clients, that'll walk with the clients through the whole process, explain everything, clear upfront pricing, all those things. And so he started the brokerage side really focusing on that customer service and education and clear pricing. And today that's still very important to us. We're a very education-focused company to help our clients go through doing something they've never done before and have never even thought of sometimes and possibly will never do again. So we kind of pride ourselves on that.
Sure. And I'm thinking of, there's a variety of RAGBRAI riders that could utilize this service, but I'm thinking especially if, somebody's doing RAGBRAI for the first time, maybe they're coming solo, maybe they're driving who knows where from Florida. They'll drive to the start, and then I think it would be kind of stressful figuring out, okay, I get done with RAGBRAI, now how the heck am I going to get back to my car and then drive back to Florida? So I can see a huge benefit to this, plus just your time. Like, I don't want, when I finish in Dubuque, I don't want to drive 5 hours back to my car. I mean, I'm done. I want to go home. I want to be in my own bed. I want to take a shower, like all that kind of good stuff. So I see the benefits. Have you worked out costs yet, or is that to be determined?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything, our registration is open. Right now we have, 50-ish?
Almost 60.
60-ish cars already registered for transport. So mrcarshipper.com/RAGBRAI is the spot where you can learn more and sign up. But our cost is...
the cost is $649 per vehicle, not per person. And that is inclusive of all parking costs. There's not an additional parking fee for either town. And you mentioned, people coming from far away. We currently do have people registered from 23 different states and Canada.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty neat to see all the different places people are coming from, especially those where they have to go further east. So you don't want to get to Dubuque, drive all the way back to Ottawa so that you can drive all the way back across Iowa.
Right.
Stuff like that. So, yeah, it's been a pretty neat thing.
That has been last year. That I think we heard that comment more than anything. It's so nice that I'm done and I can get in my car and just go. And that it felt a little bit like coming home, I think, for some of the riders who have been riding for all week. So that's really cool.
Yeah. And just to clarify, I think you said it, Stacy, but the $649 is everything. So I will coordinate with Mr. Car Shipper to get my car to Ottawa, where you guys will take it to Dubuque, and then it'll be waiting for me in Dubuque. So I don't have to pay for parking on top of the Mr. Car Shipper service, right?
Correct. Yep. $649 is the all-in cost.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What's one thing that you want RAGBRAI riders to know about Mr. Car Shipper?
Well, I think it is kind of like what I was talking about earlier, that we are a small company who cares about our customers and we're here with you. That's one of the reasons why we've loved getting to know the RAGBRAI community, because it feels like kind of who we are. We're just people doing our thing and trying to live life the best we can. And so it's been fun to be connected there. And so I think we really, we're kind of on the same wavelength as far as community and that kind of thing goes. So we're here to help you, to provide a service that will take some stress off of you while you're riding and hopefully increase your enjoyment of what you get to do all week, and we'll take care of your car.
Mm-hmm. And on the RAGBRAI website, I'm sure listeners know that there is so much information on that website. But if you click rider information and then you click on logistics and scroll down, you can actually see a Mr. Car Shipper tab. And that gives you more information, but it also takes you to the website that you mentioned, which is
mrcarshipper.com/RAGBRAI.
Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to think, maybe general questions that riders may have, like, where will vehicles be? Will they be in a parking lot? Will they be on a truck all week? How does that work?
So we work with the RAGBRAI event coordinators to get a lot assigned to us in each town. We actually, Daniel and I, took kind of an exploration trip up to Ottawa and then over to Dubuque about a month ago to see where they wanted to put us, because we need to make sure, that it's going to be conducive to what we need to do and that we can get our big transport carriers safely in and out and all of that. So we are in a lot that's right on the shuttle route in both towns. The Ottawa town, we don't have the final lot. We're down to 2 locations, so we're going to share that information as soon as we receive it. But it is right on the shuttle route. And then in Dubuque, we are in the same lot area as the rest of the normal long-term parking. So it's really convenient to the luggage pickup area. It's right off of a bike path. They're wide open. They're either almost like a field, like a mowed down field, or a gravel lot or something like that. So it's similar to any of the other long-term parking facilities that RAGBRAI has other vehicles in.
And will people who decide to use your service, will they have to have an extra set of keys to get back in their car, or will you keep their keys and keep them secure?
Yeah, so we do have to keep one single key from each person, because the carriers would obviously need to start the cars to drive them up onto the transport vehicle. And then, so we keep those with us throughout the week. And then when people come to us in Dubuque, we go through our little checkout process with them, give them their key back, and they're good to go.
Perfect. Super easy. And then let's just say that somebody maybe decides to leave RAGBRAI early. Is there an easy way to communicate with Mr. Car Shipper to kind of figure out where their car is?
Yeah, so there's also a phone. Excuse me. There's also a phone number that is on that website, and that's what we use for communication all the time. So, and that'll be out if you do decide to register with us. We give you lots of information. All that will be very clear. But if something were to happen and you needed to quit early, you would get a hold of us. You'd give us a call. We see whether your car, which lot your car is in, and then you'd have to go pick up from that lot from wherever you are. Okay. Like last year, we did have people about halfway. There was an injury and they had to quit early. And they actually ended up they rented a U-Haul truck in order to come to our lot and then pick up their car. And so it works kind of like that.
Sure. And then the only other question I'm thinking of is, like, my vehicle has a bike rack on the back. And is that something where you require people to maybe take the bike rack off and get it into their vehicle, or does it still work on the carriers?
Yeah, so any sort of aftermarket added things like bike racks, they do have to be removed and placed in like the back seat of the vehicle for transport. So yeah, we do instruct everybody on that. If they had something that is permanently affixed, it kind of comes down then to the dimensions of the vehicle, and that's something that we speak with the person individually. But anything that is removable does need to be placed inside the vehicle.
Okay, which is pretty standard. Most people, know how to get their bike rack off fairly quickly. I know mine's super easy, and you'll be telling the riders all of this via email ahead of time, so it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone.
Yep. Yeah, and we are still accepting registrations until about June 30th. So yeah, you can register on that website that we referenced, and you do also have the option to cancel up until June 30th as well, with no penalty if it turned out that this just wasn't going to be something that worked out for you. Yeah.
And we also, I guess, when you talk about things that often come up, we do often have people register one type of vehicle and then call us to switch it out, and that's no problem. That $649 is for any kind of vehicle that fits within the dimensions, which are listed on that website as well. But yeah, so if you need to register and you're not sure, go ahead and register, because there is no cancellation fee until June 30th, like Stacy just said, and you can swap vehicles if you need to.
Okay. And is this something where you have unlimited availability through June 30th, or will you sell out?
We do still have a decent amount of capacity available. We do have a cutoff, but we've still got plenty of room at this time.
Okay. So MrCarShipper.com is the website. And anything else, Stacy and Daniel, that you want to share about your company or about the service that you offer?
we love being a part of RAGBRAI. It's so much fun. And we hope that we can help a lot of people get their vehicles moved across the state. We'd love to do it.
I think it's a great idea. And it would be cool if you guys, when you're monitoring these parking lots, maybe brought a bike so you could cruise around.
That is a good idea.
Daniel, do you still have green Trek?
I actually do still have my forest green Trek. Love it. I still have it. It is not nearly, last year watching people come and unload their bikes, and I got a real education on how cool of a bike you could have.
Yeah.
Treks aren't top of the pile, I learned, but I still love it.
I bet that green Trek is probably, at least emotionally, worth a lot.
Yes, that's right.
Well, thank you both for coming on the podcast and talking about Mr. Car Shipper. And guys out there, if you're thinking about logistics and don't want to drive across Iowa multiple times, check out mrcarshipper.com/RAGBRAI.
Well, listeners, that is it for today. We want to thank you for tuning in to listen to the Just Go Bike podcast. If you would like to contact Murph and AP with a comment about the podcast, or maybe even you have a topic in mind, you can reach us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook and watch our intros on YouTube. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, especially if you're a fan. That is going to do it for this week. Until next time,
Just go bike.
theme song by Ryan Steer, logo by Suzanne Milosevic, produced by Kathy Murphy, social media by Andrea Parrott, intro by Pumpkin. Until next time, just go bike.